Hi, this is Shane Starr. Happy New Year 2026. I'm announcing a new channel called Reflections on Religion, where we will examine the chaotic intersection between religion and contemporary culture. Now, if you are not interested in religion but still are interested in typology, then that's fine because we're going to keep this channel as is. But my new channel, you can find it on Reflections on Religion, and I will be doing videos every Friday. I already have 52 topics planned, plus an introduction that I'm doing tomorrow. And I'll be preempting those videos with a short on the day before. So we'll be doing Thursday shorts, Friday videos. I'm going to, unlike my typology videos, I'm going to keep these to 12 minutes, like 15 minutes max. I want to, get in, make my point, get out. Some of the topics that we're going to be doing include we're going to take a look at different views of the universe, God versus random chance. We're going to take a look at different ways one can reach the divine, the true, the good, the beautiful, and the mysterious, which I've previously connected with intuition. I'm going to talk about the importance of church. I'm going to talk about denominational fractions and factions and them going against each other. I'm going to talk about biblical literalism versus a symbolic view of the Bible stories. I'm going to look at prayer, divine friendship, for lack of a better expression, and how that goes into the final judgment that's found in the biblical texts. We're going to talk about science and religion. We're going to talk about technology and religion. We're going to talk about mistakes in our destiny. We're going to talk about the concept of the Pope. Does it make any sense? There's a lot of Christians who are still anti-Catholic. I used to be one of them. We'll talk about that. There are some things in the Bible that aren't that well known to people on the outside, but we're going to dig into some of those topics. For one, the Apostle Paul and the Apostle Peter having a head-to-head debate that got pretty ugly there for a bit. We're going to dive into that and examine what it was they were debating about and how it changed Christianity forever from that point forward. We're going to talk about Nietzsche and his saying God is dead, and we're going to see how that fits into our own notions of religious life today. We're going to talk about icons, art, and idolatry. Are statues and works of religious art something that refreshes and subsidizes and helps religion, or is that something that's idolatrous and wrong? We're going to talk about Martin Luther and what he did with the Protestant Reformation and what some of those finer details look like and how they affected what has happened since then on both sides of the debate. We're going to talk about atheism. We're going to talk about the multiverse. We're going to talk about existentialism. We're going to talk about the Enlightenment and how that has affected notions of rational religion and what do those concepts look like today in 2026. We're going to talk about the Ten Commandments. We're going to talk about the Shroud of Turin. We're going to talk about AI and God. We're going to talk about God as God relates to alcohol and drugs. We're going to talk about the possibility of the universe being a simulation. We're going to talk about religion and social media, the power of prayer, the book of Revelation, religion and dreams, the Bible and aliens, religion and time, religion and politics, the golden rule. We're going to talk about what Moses, David, and the Apostle Paul has in common with you and me. We're going to talk about the disciples and God's wisdom. We're going to talk about religion in the workplace. We're going to talk about Christianity and Eastern religions and philosophies? Is there room for both? We're going to talk about Christianity and Freud. We're going to talk about Christianity and personality systems like the Enneagram and MBTI. We're going to talk about mixed faith relationships. How do they work? I've been in several myself. How do they work? What are the pros and cons? We're going to talk about joking, complaining, gossip, and slander, something that I've had problems with even recently, which I've resolved this year to solve. We're going to talk about the theology of the body and death and what the Catholic view is compared to the Platonic and Christian views of the body and death. We're going to talk about the power of confession and gratitude. And finally, we're going to close the series at the end of the year with a section on faith and transformative knowledge. So I hope if any of these sound good to you, I basically read them off in the order that we're going to do them. Join me on that channel, Reflections on Religion. We're going, again, the idea is to have about 12-minute videos. We're going to define the problem. We're going to share some personal and social examples. We're going to explain why it matters. We're going to look at a couple of possible options. Then I'm going to share my solution with explanations. And then we're going to close with an invitation to discuss further. If or when appropriate, I'll do short responses to videos on Tuesdays. So again, I'm excited to do this. Unlike typology, this is something that, given my education at USC, Yale, and the University of Notre Dame, and my experience as well, this is something I can look you in the eyes and claim that I'm an expert on. And both from a theological and educational standpoint, as well as from a very human experiential standpoint. So I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good for me, and I think it'll be good for whoever's out there listening. All right. That's all I have for tonight. Check me out on that channel tomorrow. Tomorrow's just going to be an introduction to myself and the channel. A lot of it I've already shared here. And then the following week, we're going to dive into our first topic, which is God versus random chance. Okay, that's all I have for tonight. Again, Happy New Year. Make some good resolutions and keep up with them for the whole year. And that's it. God bless and peace out.